Shinawat, thank you very much for joining us in this interview. You and your sister Yingluck Shinawat, another former Prime Minister, seem to have been on a bit of a publicity drive lately. You released some very nice photo books to the Thai people, to diplomats. You also released a calendar to the Thai people. Why is this happening now?
Well, we prefer to stay quiet, let the government solve the problems. But we've been waiting for 1.5 years. Reconciliation is not there. And the negative campaigns against us is too much until it's not fair for our supporters. That's why it's time for us to clarify anything that has been tarnished by them.
But why has it taken so long? We've had academics, we've had activists speaking out in Thailand against the coup that happened in 2014, against the government of Yingluck Shinawat, and yet you and her, to a certain extent, have stayed very quiet. Why?
Well, like I said, we really want to give time for them to solve the chronic problem of the country. But it seems like they are siding with another side. They are not really want to do reconciliation.
But surely you never had any real hope that they would reconcile.
Real hope for reconcile is not there. The first day, if you remember, when they sat together with all the armed forces leader, and they said that the reason they come for a coup d'etat is for reconciliation. If you revise the first day what they said, and now it's 1.5 years, nothing is there at all.
Would you say this is the start of a fight back by the Shinawats?
No, it's not really a fight back, but we just want to see the country back to democratic track, not go out of the way to dictatorial track.
In one of your addresses, your speeches to supporters in Thailand delivered via social media, you said something like, prepare yourselves this year. What did you mean by that?
Election.
This year?
I don't think the government, if they still keep doing like this, they can satisfy the public, or they can bring the country back to normal economic track, economic path that we should have grown. But now our economy is very, very slow and very bad. The people are poor. They have no hope.
So are you suggesting that they will be forced into holding an election this year? Because they're saying it's not going to be until next year.
I think the situation will not allow them to enjoy the power that much, because the way they run the country, I think they should, like I said, any regime that careless about their own people will not be last long. So they have to give more care to the people. I don't mind if they want to hang on power, but they must move the country forward, and they must care about the people, even they not come from election. But it being state, it's not just only land, but it's the people in the state as well.
So where will that pressure come from? If they are to fold and hold an election this year, if they cannot hold out, as you say,
I don't know.
How's that going to happen?
No, I'm just guessed that the way they treat the people, the way they run the country, the way other countries look at Thailand, it's quite, if they really love the people and the country as they claim, they should let the country back to democracy.
We mentioned the coup that happened in 2014 against the government of your sister Yingluck Shinawat. What was your first reaction when you heard there had been yet another coup?
Well, after the demonstration, when I noticed that there were some military camouflage in the crowd, in the mobs. I think that's their plan of coup d'etat. And then before I think around April, if I were to remember, they start to put bunkers on the street. You remember? And they try to put bunkers on the street in Chiang Mai as well. So I know immediately that they plan to stage the coup.
But they would say they were merely ensuring the security of Thai people.
No, not that. Because, when they camouflage some military personnel into the Suthep mobs, and then the way they communicate with my sister at that time, I know that that's going to happen.
So this was a planned event planned well before the coup actually happened?
Yes.
Do you believe?
Yes.
As soon as those protesters hit the streets?
Yes.
So what sort of government are we heading for, do you believe? We have another constitution being written now which appears to be less than democratic, an election possibly happening next year, possibly an appointed prime minister. Where are we heading?
Prime minister, and they'll have a politburo to supervise the government, elected government, and then you have the long-term national strategy, so-called, and for 20 years to control the way the government is running. So this is the constitution where they just don't care, don't respect the people voice. So the people has no power whatsoever. They vote, the whole country vote for government, which the party that they vote may not be able to have the prime ministership. But at the same time, they cannot run anything on their own platform. They have to go according to the strategy which is set forth by the military, which is ridiculous. I think it's probably worse than the constitution of Myanmar before the reform.
But don't you think that the longer this goes on, the longer that this government stays in power, the people might just get used to it? We have, whether you like it or not, a fairly stable government in place. There is relative security on the streets. There are no protesters. But maybe people will think this isn't so bad after all.
Yeah, but if the people are very poor, the country is, the export has a lot of problem. We have no future plan for the future. That is, is contradicting. Is there any company in the world that promote the chief security into CEO?
But the companies who have invested in Thailand so heavily, international companies, most of them seem to be staying put. We're not seeing big business fleeing the country so far. Well,
they know that the election going to be next year. That's what they believe. If it were that they keep their promise, and then it's only 1 year, and if they were the democracy coming back, they can just stay put.
You mentioned the economy. Do you believe that the military government is mismanaging the economy right now? Are they out of their depth when it comes to running the country economically?
Yes.
And yet they've hired one of your former allies as a finance minister, a man who is bringing back many populist policies, if you like, to try and stimulate the economy.
Well, I feel flattening that they use our policies, but living economy is like, when we can make analogies like virus. When things are mutated, virus can be mutated until it's stubborn to the old medicine. This is economy. Economy is living economy. The combination of the problem is change. The situation was changed. Sometimes the old prescription may not work.
But the situation internationally has changed as well, and
Yes.
there are
Yes.
international pressures on
Yes.
Thailand's economy. So
Yes.
aren't they doing an okay job considering that global demand is slowing and affecting Thailand's exports?
Well, we are one of the leading economy in ASEAN, but we are the lowest growth in GDP of ASEAN. Is that a proof something?
Yingluck Shinawat, your sister, former Prime Minister, is now under investigation, being charged with dereliction of duty, mismanaging the rice scheme while she was Prime Minister, which was a scheme that was designed to pay farmers way above market price for their rice crops. Was this another Shinawat populist policy that was badly managed and went horribly wrong?
Well, this is the only case in the world where you set up the policy platform and you have to be responsible for it. But the policy platform is accepted by the people who vote for you landslide. The philosophy behind this is when we proud of being number one exporter of rice, we should keep their career. They must be farmers, but we want them to be farmers, they have to live their life as a decent life and with prestige. Not just only they just farmers, you do it, you lost money, you have to do it regardless. That is not fair for them. That's the reason why, because majority of our Thai are farmers in the rural area. So that's why we have to look after their livelihood. They plague of death, and the way when they get the money, they mortgage their rice. They only deduct that they can be deduct is only about moisture. That is is a general rules. And then when they have the money they consume, we collect more VAT tax, which is the money has been spent in the economy, and we collect VAT.
But you also have a responsibility when you implement a policy like that to manage it properly. Didn't you just let it get it out, or Yingluck let it get out of control, that there was not enough control on that specific policy? The government level, we put policy in place. But the government official, they have the system in place. But unlucky that at that time, India, first time in history, sold 9 million tons of rice of their own stock, because their crops output is very strong at that year. And plus, the opposition start to attack. We have too much rice. Our rice is not good. The trader, instead of buying rice, keep on their own stock. They just stay put, don't buy yet, and let us keep the stock. And also flood. You see, this very unfortunate, but it's not really that she careless. She work hard. She in stock. Everyone have to be taking good care of pushing sale of rice. So if Yingluck wasn't corrupt in that particular process, was there corruption beneath her? Is that what you're saying? In the process?
Well, in the process, you cannot find even in private sector, there may be some loopholes, which is if the smaller organization, they can plug the loophole. But the big organization, sometimes loophole has been there. Because our system's not computerized yet. This is the bad part of us. If we computerize by giving the licensing to the farmers, you're going to know exactly how many acres, how many line of lands that they go paddy fields. If we computerize everything, it will be. But we are on the process of the computerization of the process. And after that, if it's finished, it will be better control.
I want to talk about your life now as well, because September this year, as I'm sure you're well aware, marks 10 years since the coup that ousted you and your government from power. If you look back, did you ever think that you would still be living in exile 10 years after that coup?
Yes.
Why?
Well, when I have to stay abroad, I have to adapt myself.
But you don't have to stay abroad. You could go back at any time and face the consequences and join your people in the fight, join your supporters.
If I were there, who guarantee my safety? I've been assassinated attempt 4 times when I was Prime Minister.
So you think if you went back now that your life would be in danger?
Definitely.
Who wants to kill you?
I cannot say anything. I cannot tell. I don't know who. I don't know who. But I've been assassinated, attempted, and I try to find the facts. And even the witness during the car bomb, the witness has said in August 2006 that they will try to kill me. If not success, they're going to stage coup against me. And if the coup success, who's going to be the Prime Minister? That the witness has been giving testimony on August. September 19, I've been stage coup d'etat. And October, they appoint this Prime Minister that mentioned by the witness.
So you're saying then that
everything is planned.
So you're saying it's the army who would try to kill you?
Related to, I don't know who is, but it's quite clear.
With hindsight though, has staying away from Thailand been a mistake in terms of the support, the figure that you could have become if you were in Thailand, assuming you were still alive?
I mean, you mean if I cannot go back in the beginning, and then they're trying to keep me outside.
But even one of your key allies in Thailand, a red shirt leader, Jataporn Prompan, very recently said, if Thaksin had stayed in the country, it would not have turned out like this. He said, Thaksin fleeing the country became a costly lesson. This is a key red shirt leader, one of your people on the streets. If I stay in the country,
I've been killed, everything, the symbolic of fighting for democracy may not be there. I don't know. I'm not thinking that I'm very important, but I don't know. I cannot predict it.
Some in recent years have issued dire warnings about Thailand, speculated that the country eventually will descend into civil war. Is that going too far?
I don't think so. The Thai are very peaceful. Even now the junta leader turned the whole Thai to be enlisted men of the armed forces. They're still very peaceful and quiet.
Do you have support within the military? Have you actively sought?
I don't know.
Support?
I never thought. I can tell you what, the imagination of many people in Thailand, especially my opposition, may think that, I'm ready to fight back. I live my life peacefully. I'm happy. If they not get involved with me, I never say anything. Even they attack me, I still keep quiet. I try not to live my life, not to involve. But, that's what I ask, that I don't want to see the country like this. But I keep telling them, don't worry about me. Don't afraid of me. Don't afraid of revenge or anything. I love, as a former Prime Minister, definitely I love my country, I love my people.
And you would love to go back, I'm sure.
I'm okay now. I get used to. If I have to go back, if I can go back, definitely I want to. If not, I'm okay. I can stay in every country.
But it seems without you and without your leadership, without your guidance, there will be no significant opposition on the streets, if you like, to this military government. Why have we not seen any significant opposition so far?
The military, they keep urging publicly that they want to do reconciliation. They want to move the country forward. But this is 1.5 years, no sign of reconciliation. In vice versa, they really siding with one side and then pressure another side. That's the reconciliation is not there. Moving the country forward, I see it backward more than forward. So this is what we start to worry. And when come the draft constitution, which is bad constitution ever, if we can compare, I don't know that we can compare to North Korea or not.
Has time run out for this government then?
I think they have to come back on the first day what they promised to the people and the world, that they're going to do this for reconciliation. They have to bring the videotape of the first day of the announce of coup d'etat and then revise it. That's what I asking for. I never ask anything for myself.
And are you talking directly to the military right now?
No. And then they even said they don't want to talk, but I don't care. I just keep trying to warn them that don't worry about me. Worry about the country and the people. The state, not just only the land, but it's the people in the state.